Today we are reading Our Subway Baby by Peter Mercurio and illustrated by Leo Espinoza. Our Subway Baby. Some babies are born into their families. Some are adopted. This is the story of how one baby found his family in the New York City subway. It was a cool August night in New York, and Danny was riding the subway home. On his way out of the station, he saw something tucked away in the corner. At first, it looked like a doll, but it wasn't. It was you. You were only a few hours old, wrapped up in a sweatshirt. Danny brushed your cheek. You wiggled your arms and legs. For a moment, time stopped, but then Danny jumped to action. He called the police, and then he called me. "I found a baby!" he shouted. "Get here quick!" I could practically hear Danny's heart beating through the phone, so of course I ran. You were in a police officer's arm the first time I saw you. You looked like an angel, and Danny and I couldn't take our eyes off of you. The officer gently put you in the police car, and you yawned as if this sort of thing happened every day. We waved goodbye, hoping we'd see you again someday soon. A reporter picked up the story, and soon all of New York City wanted to know more about Danny and the baby from the subway. You made headlines in all the newspapers and on TV. We didn't know it at the time, but Danny had just not found a baby. He had found our family. Danny couldn't stop thinking about you, and so the next morning he went to the hospital, but they wouldn't let him see you. "Only family may visit," said the lady at the front desk. "I'm the person who found him," Danny said. "He doesn't have a family. I just want to make sure he's okay." "Thanks to you, he's a healthy little boy," the lady said. "Who knows what would have happened if you hadn't found him?" The nurse named him after you and the subway train, Danny Ace Doe. So Danny and I had to go on with our lives, and even though we had known you for only a few minutes, we missed you. We wondered about you often. We learned that you were placed in a foster home. Some babies stay in foster care for a short time, some for a long time. Some live in many different foster homes and grow up without a permanent home or family. Judge Cooper, the woman in charge of finding loving homes for many New York City children, didn't want that to happen to you. Luckily, she knew how you and Danny had found each other. She had heard about his visit to the hospital. She had seen him talk about you on the TV news, and so she knew exactly where you belonged. But first, she wanted to meet Danny. In December, Judge Cooper called Danny into her courtroom. "You care a lot about this little boy, don't you?" she asked. Danny nodded. "A baby belongs with someone who loves him, and I think that's you. Would you like to adopt him?" Danny took a deep breath. In that moment, he knew adopting you was exactly what he wanted. "Yes, I am interested, but I know adopting a baby isn't always easy for two dads." "It can be," the judge smiled. "Where there is love, anything is possible." Danny was speechless. All he could do was nod again. He left the courtroom excited about us starting a family together. It's funny to think about it now, but I wasn't so sure at first. "That's incredible," I said to Danny, "but it's impossible." "Where there's love, anything's possible," Danny said. "Fate is giving us a son. How can we refuse?" But I was scared. After all, our apartment was tiny. Our piggy banks were empty. I didn't know if we had what it took to be your parents. A few days later, we went to your foster home to visit you and to see if we were ready to be your parents. Danny cradled you first and then placed you in my arms. "Your turn," he told me. As soon as he put you in my arms, you started to cry. I mean, you wailed. Then something strange happened. "It's okay," I whispered and brushed your cheek. "You're going to be all right." Suddenly you stopped crying and just stared at the two of us with these big, wide eyes. And then you wrapped your tiny little hand around my finger and you squeezed and squeezed. The harder you squeezed, the more I forgot my worries. Our home may have been tiny, our piggy banks empty, but our hearts were full. That's how we knew we were meant to become a family. We chose to name you Kevin in honor of a family member who was very special to us. And our names changed too. We became your Daddy Danny and Papa Pete. The miracles didn't stop there though. We thought we'd have to wait months and months to actually bring you home, but Judge Cooper asked if we'd like to bring you home for Christmas. For Christmas? That was in 3 days. We didn't have anything for you yet. But of course we said yes. Where there is love, anything is possible. All of your new relatives sprang into action to get everything you needed. Grandma and Grandpa supplied a crib and diapers and footsie pajamas. Your aunts and uncles brought bottles and blankets. Your cousins gave you toys and a teddy. We stayed up all night reading books about how to take care of you. Now all we needed was you. On the day you came home, it was snowing. The flurries floated in the air, moving in every direction as if performing a special dance just for you. We didn't have a car, so we thought about hailing a taxi or hopping on a bus. But since you had entered our lives at a subway station, we chose to bring you home the same way. We sat in the corner with you on our laps. We were so happy, it was contagious, and other passengers smiled at us. Soon the rocking and swaying made you sleepy, and I still remember how you looked at us and yawned. Then you closed your eyes and took your first nap as our son. There we were, the three of us, in a dream we hadn't dreamt, but that came true anyway. Sometimes life hinges on little moments, happy accidents, and miraculous surprises. Sometimes babies are born into forever families. Sometimes they are adopted. And sometimes all it takes to find your family is a chance glance at tiny toes wiggling in the corner of a subway station. So this is a true story, so I'm going to read this author's note at the end. The first time Kevin looked up at us with his big brown eye, The first time Kevin looked up at us with his big eyes, we knew he'd be a curious and observant kid. And sure enough, as he grew, so did his curiosity, especially about how we became a family. In 2012, it was Kevin's idea to ask Judge Cooper to perform his dad's marriage. So 10 years after his adoption was finalized, we were back in family court, this time to get married. Judge Cooper and Kevin were excited to meet each other. They shook hands until the judge asked for a hug. The woman and the boy who had forever changed and enriched our lives were about to do it again. Danny and I couldn't have asked for a better officiator or best man. Now in college, Kevin studies mathematics and computer science. He plays ultimate frisbee and is called Frog by his teammates for his leaping ability. The boy we once cradled in one arm is now over 6 feet tall. Kevin has run and finished several half marathons and full marathons. Together as a family, we enjoy hiking, cycling, kayaking, exploring the national parks, and rooting for the Mets. Judge Cooper has since retired, but we have kept in touch, and she's become a part of our family outside the courtroom. And that is our Subway Baby.